Hello and welcome to The Appointment. I am Pranjal Sharma. Joining me today is Antony Jacob, CEO of Apollo Munich Health Insurance. Antony, thanks for being with us. We are having this conversation in the middle of one of continuing and bigger debates about further reforms in the insurance sector. What are your thoughts at this point?
Yeah, thank you first for having me over. I've been in this debate since as good as 96, 97 when I first joined the insurance sector. First it was the opening up to private sector, which was up to 2000. Then unfortunately we had the 26%, and now the whole debate is 26 to 49, and we know what's happening in the parliament. But my own view is that a lot of progress has been made since the time pre-opening up of the sector in 2000. While there has been a lot of change, there has been a lot of good, but at the same time I would be the first to admit that whatever has happened is not enough as yet. India is fast growing, a number of changes happening, plenty to do in the insurance and particularly in health insurance.
You know, Antony, I'll come to that a little later, but I remember you and I used to meet in mid-90s until the insurance bill was passed in 97. And now I realize that you were one of the first companies that has turned a profit, turned the corner. Tell us more about Apollo Munich Health Insurance. How is it that you have been able to, what are the paths that you took to help you turn the corner, come back into the black?
Yes, yes, health insurance has been a very difficult business in India, and it continues to be. And I personally feel in the insurance sector, health insurance is one of the most difficult businesses to run, and not many people understand this. What have we done different? I think it starts from, the parentage. For a business like health insurance, which is a complicated subject and which we are trying to uncomplicate, you need to have a very good understanding of the healthcare and the insurance sector. Fortunately for us, because of our parentage of Apollo and Munich Re Group, we understand healthcare like nobody else. We understand health insurance and insurance in general through the Munich Re expertise. So for me, the first step for any player, be it any industry, is you need to understand the industry you are inside out. So we understand what it takes to win in this. So right from the early days, 2006-07, when we started putting this whole plan together, and when we kicked off a little later after that, we brought in products, features and pricing which was very, very relevant to the healthcare sector, and it was a bottom-up approach. It was not a one-size-fits-all, take it or leave it. We understood the needs of the different segments, different age groups. We brought in features for the first time, and we also had tools, statistical tools available with the help of Apollo Hospitals as well as Munich Re Group to actually price it correctly. So
is that the key issue, pricing or the product? What is more important?
I think there are multiple things, all of which have to work together. One is to get the right product and features. Second is to make sure that they're priced right. It shouldn't be over or it shouldn't be under, because both ways you could lose, somebody could lose. And thirdly is the delivery of this at a future date, because health insurance is a promise to deliver a service at a future point of time. So there are a number of points which need to be connected, and our success has been because we understand this and we understand what it needs to connect all of these dots.
When you say success, what are the figures or parameters you would use to assess your own success? What has been your growth like in the last few years?
We've had really outstanding growth in the sense that when you compare it with the business plan which you have presented to the regulator at the time of applying for a license, and you look back and you look and see how you performed, I personally think we are probably one of the few companies in the insurance industry in India who have actually delivered on that original plan. Okay. Most often the plan gets changed. Now, the reason why it's happened is because we knew what we wanted to do at every point of time, and we had a roadmap into what we will achieve at different milestones, and we went after it one after another. And today we have about 4 million lives covered, and these are not lives specifically to one city or two cities. We are a national player. We have about this, by the end of this financial year, which is March 15, we will have something like 850 crores or 900 crores of premium. Our claim settlement time is the fastest in the industry. Products and features have been rated by industry experts. It's not us speaking. Industry expert raters as a 5-star rating for most of our products. We get awards, and which is a tremendous feeling of good for us. Not just in India, we've also got some Asia Pacific awards for some of our product and features.
Has the growth been difficult in the last couple of years?
To be honest, we could go out there and put as much premium as we wanted if that was our whole purpose. But our whole purpose is not just premium. We need to get business into our books for which we can deliver a outstanding service at a point of time. So we have been going step by step. So we are growing at about 25-30%, which is what we feel at this point of time is a good rate for us to also match the delivery, which is extremely important.
Is that number of policies sold or premium?
In terms of policies, in terms of 850 crores to 900, that's the top line, that's the premium which we receive from our customers. And this we expect it to grow 25-30% every year.
You're expecting that growth to continue in the next couple of years. What are you hoping will drive further growth? Do you see the improved maturity in the Indian consumer? What is drawing them, or what would draw more of them to a company like yours?
Yeah. See, when we met in the late 90s, if we spoke about health insurance, even in top metros, people either didn't understand it or weren't interested in listening to it. It wasn't there at all in their list on the top of the minds. I think the great thing which has happened over the last 10 to 15 years is that people understand there is a product called health insurance. Definitely in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 towns, they understand. Now, have they all bought health insurance? Not yet. I think that's the change which is going to happen over a period of the next 5, 10, 15 years. And the reason why I'm saying it's going to change is because issues of healthcare have started surfacing in a big way. Issues of rising healthcare costs are starting to hurt everybody's pocket. There are enough of advertising and branding which is going on by the industry, individuals as well as industry, and sometimes the regulator themselves are involved in terms of saying there is a product called health insurance, which is a good financing tool. So for a number of reasons, I see the market growing at this 20-25%, particularly in health insurance, because people have now started realizing that if they do not have a financing mechanism, it could deprive them of some disposable incomes which could otherwise be used for other things. It is a hospitalization of any kind, even for an dengue or some flu or some infectious disease. If you are in the metro or one of the top metros, you're talking about anywhere between 50,000 to a lakh just to get out of that infectious disease state. So it's not small money for anybody for that matter.
You were talking about being close to the market, about catering to the consumer. What are the kind of new innovations that you have pioneered, your company has done, which you can say is completely for an Indian consumer and not for anybody else?
Very true. There are a number of things which we did, and I took credit by saying that we understand healthcare and health insurance like nobody else. So when we put our products out into the market, we did things very, very differently, right? For example, on the opening day itself, we questioned the market practice of a loading for an individual at the renewal time if you had claimed in the previous year. Now, in my opinion, health insurance is not a business of selling policies. Health insurance is in the business of paying claims. So if you're in the business of paying claims and a person claimed, your customer claimed, why would you penalize him? So we came up with a thing saying, never will there be claims loading. If we have to change prices, we will change it for an entire age bucket or an entire product because our actuaries and statistical analysis have suggested that we should change it, right? So that's one big thing. Then the other thing which big change which we made was we said one of the issues which people have is have I got a sublimit here and I've got what is covered, what is not covered. So we came up with products which did not have sublimits, which meant that people could, if at that point of time when they were admitted, you're not worrying about, this disallowance, that disallowance, am I entitled to this? I said, if they want to go to a suite, they can go to a suite. If they want to go to...
Correct, because sublimits became an excuse for not paying.
Not paying, cause of concern, distraction. When you actually need medical aid, you're unnecessarily worrying about things which you should not be worried. So that's the whole Uncomplicate part which we had researched and found out.
So you were close to the market, and as thanks to some of these innovations, it's become so much easier for consumers. But there is still a sense that buying a policy is very easy now, and that's great credit to the private players, but still the claims are tough. There is a huge value chain of TPAs, third party players, the hospital, the healthcare service provider, and by the time it comes, there is a big chain which still creates a lot of pain for consumers. Now that ecosystem in many ways is outside your control because you are working with other agencies. Yes, it should be, the regulators have a say in that, but what can be done to reduce that pain?
Sure. See, whilst I agree that there is a pain and a pain that even me as an individual, I don't want to go through that pain, but I must also add that, sometimes we get hit quite often for the wrong reason. And the reason why I'm saying this is, I don't think people understand that this industry, health insurance industry, pays in a year 20,000 crores of claims. It's like 30 to 40,000 claims every working day which gets processed by the industry. It is even larger than motor in terms of own damage motor claims. More number of claims gets processed and paid in health insurance than even own damage motor. So people don't understand. It's a big industry. Yes, there are a number of areas which have to be streamlined, and that's what I'm paid for to do. There are issues in terms of how can we ease the process. Now, I'm very happy that you mentioned that the selling part, the proposal stage, the initial application stage has been streamlined, but I really think that the real test for us, serious players in this business, is how do I make it a seamless, painless entry and exit into a hospital for which the person has bought the policy, right? And whether we like it or not, some of that ecosystem is outside our full control. But I am pretty optimistic that we will see solutions. We will be able to take, definitely players like us are investing a lot of time and energy in terms of how do we reduce that, like example, a 60-minute cashless approval to 6 seconds.
Does it require regulatory change or business practices change?
I think it is less of regulatory issues, and these are things are to be done more by ourselves, plus the ecosystem which we are trying to manage, the healthcare providers. Of course, support from the government and the regulator will certainly help us. Now, I'm questioning myself, I'm questioning my teams out here, saying, can we not give the customer the entire admission process done even while they are moving from the house to the hospital? Do it through an electronic means so that when the person gets off in the hospital in the portico, he should be told, please go to room 2345, your room is ready, your doctor will be seeing you. Why should they go through an admission process?
This seems to be your dream. Can it be a reality?
I am hopeful, and I'm thinking, and I think it is very much possible because I'm seeing such a lot of technology changes which are taking place in the country and around the world and in healthcare. So for me, it is how do I connect my system with the hospitals around the country and to make it a seamless experience for the customer who has bought a policy, wants the treatment, no waiting in the lobby, go straight into the hospital, everything is done, doctors are there, and similarly when they're okay, how do I make it a straight move from the hospital bed into the car rather than having so many reports and pages signed. Now, it's easier to say this, it's work in progress, it's not something we can deliver tomorrow or day after, but the competitive nature of our industry and with serious players like Apollo Munich, I am optimistic that we will be able to reduce the pain and possibly eliminate the pain over a few years from now in terms of the way we are conducting our business.
Antony, what is the size of the industry now? Because as we talk about policy reforms which will allow a higher stake for foreign players, where do we see the industry headed? I mean, it's really now a matter of when, not whether, of raising the limits to 49% of foreign equity ownership. Where do you see the industry headed?
See, the health insurance industry is about 20,000 crores, growing at about 20 to 25%. And my assumption is it will continue to grow at these levels because there is a huge healthcare requirement in this country. India is by a majority of the expenses is
last few years, what has been the penetration level?
As we speak, the number of people covered by insurance of any kind, some policies from us, policies through the state government schemes, central government schemes, all schemes put together, we've reached a penetration of about 30% of the population. But that's nowhere near where we should be because India is still a young country. Average age is 25 years, and as the average increases, healthcare burden is going to increase, and we soon need insurance programs to cover not 30% but close to 70, 80, 90%.
But tell me, the debate about raising the equity level, what will it allow you to do which you can't do today?
See, from our individual company point of view, almost nothing will change to the best of my knowledge because the shareholders have a very good equation. I'm a professional, I run the company, I'm given to understand, nothing will change. But what it will do to the industry as a whole, I think it will get more players. This country deserves more players, although personally I like where I am. I like my market share, which is pretty attractive. But from taking that cap off and hat off and then thinking as an Indian citizen, I think this country needs lots more of insurance players. A move from 26 to 49 will certainly interest more players. Players will invest, have more money to invest in terms of their own capability to reach out to more parts of India. So I really think 26 to 49, to me, I don't see any risk at all. We should be doing it as of yesterday. We should be trying to get more and more players interested in healthcare and health insurance and general insurance and life insurance because these are all required in a growing state.
Is this raising of funds one of the key changes in the regulatory and policy environment that you're looking for? I mean, you've been involved with the industry even before it opened up in India. So I'm asking you to put on that hat as a business leader of the insurance and the insurance sector. How do you see the evolution of the regulatory environment in India?
Yeah, see, regulatory environment from the days I've been around when the whole IRDA was set up has been tight, but I think it should be tight. There was no other way out because whenever you open a new sector, you have to have very clear guidelines and how it will move, and so it's been like that. But at the same time, I would also have a view that whenever there has been new ideas, new suggestions, new schemes, a completely new process, nothing has stopped us from having healthy discussions with the regulator. The regulator has been many a time very proactive. They have given us a good hearing, they challenge us, but if we have a strong viewpoint, my experience with the regulator is they are willing to listen, and if you have a strong point of view, which we have been able to convince them, they give us the tick. And yes, a lot more things could happen and a lot more faster, but I'm not complaining. I've been in this industry, in the insurance industry since pre-opening, and I've seen it all the way through. Yes, there are rules and regulations, but this country needs that. And I've been part of the system, so I'm not complaining.
Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the country, has put a lot of new issues on the table, and healthcare, sanitation, etc. are very relevant now, and I think they move into your sector as well. Again, how would you say the role of the private sector of insurance companies in enabling this change?
Yeah, see, India needs healthcare protection for its people, and I think the noises or the statements which are being made by the current government is in the right direction, but universal health is the word which is used. It's very loosely used, and I think different people have different interpretations for that. But in my opinion, I really think it has to be put into three different buckets. One is for people below the poverty line, people in the middle income, and the high net worth individual. And then there again, we've got to differentiate it into primary care, secondary care, and tertiary care. Now, primary care is all about trying to contain or contain things which are well within your control. Example, infectious diseases. The best way to do it is, sanitation and cleanliness and things which our current government is speaking about. And I think that's a big role of the government to make sure that, infection is not caused due to human nature.
But does the private sector also have a role to play?
I do believe the private sector also has a role to play in all of these, primary, secondary and tertiary, in the sense that prevention is something which should be part and parcel of anybody's daily life. A lot of things can be controlled. It could be through exercise, it could be awareness, it could be through diet, it could be interventions as vaccinations or whatever it is, right? So, private sector can certainly help, particularly insurance companies, in sort of inventing or innovating policies. Largely the policies which you have seen over the last 10 to 12 years has been in hospitalization, and I think you're going to see a lot of activity definitely from players like us to see how can we bring the out of hospital expenses also under the umbrella of insurance, and how do we manage that and help people prevent issues from coming up. But one big thing which I think India has to change is the concept of health care and health. My question to players and the government is, why is it not a subject to be taught and learned in schools and colleges? I don't know about you, but when I was in school, we had a subject called catechism or moral science.
I did too.
Moral science. Now, I'm asking the government and the education, why not have a subject called health and wellness? Because it is so important. If you don't understand health and wellness when you're young, it might be a little too late by the time you start understanding it, by which time you're going to incur large costs. But if you pick it up early and you're conscious, then there are a lot of things which you can do on the preventive side. So that's a big suggestion I have.
But I'm sure the industry can contribute to these thoughts as well, perhaps CSR or helping in capacity building on these fronts. But Antony, it's been a pleasure talking to you on these positive notes and constructive ideas. Thanks very much for being with us, and we look forward to a great 2015.
Thank you for having me over.